Hey, I'm Isaac Schanno Johnson. I'm a musician, and I make videos about music. Subscribe. Hey, I'm Isaac Schanno Johnson, and if you don't know me, I'm a musician, composer, producer, and I make videos about all that fun stuff. Music composition, music production. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to see videos like this in the future. We're going to talk about virtual choirs because they're super cliche and everybody's making them, but they're also super cool, and please make one if you can because they're awesome. So we're going to talk about virtual choir. So I made a couple with some of my students because I teach music at a grade school here and I work for a theater program. I'll put links in the description. They're sick. So I made some virtual choirs and I've learned a couple things about how to make them because they can be really complicated and really time consuming if you don't do certain things, and they can kind of just be the biggest pain ever if you ignore certain steps while you're making them. Mine are with students. So that means I had to be a little more clear and a little more direct with what my instructions were. And I wanted to make it as easy as I could for the people singing because they were 8th grade students or sometimes younger than 8th grade students. And I wanted to make sure I was able to edit everything together and that everything worked together. So that's what I tried to do. And I think honestly, it makes it a lot easier for anybody if you're doing this to do all of these steps. Let's talk about what we can do to make this easier. So the first thing I did was choose a song that they know really well. Don't choose a new song. Choose something that they know well and you know they can sing well. For the theater group, I chose the ending song. For the 8th graders, I chose a song that I have them sing every single music class, at least when we were doing in-person classes. I knew they would sing it well. I knew they knew it. They didn't have to practice. They didn't have to learn new words. They didn't have to do much because they already knew the song. So that already makes it a little easier for them. Another thing I did was I sent them a video with instructions about how to record and a guide vocal. We're going to talk about what's all in that video because that matters too, but send them something to sing along to. They won't sing together if you don't send them something to sing along to. They'll just be singing in random keys in different time signatures and it'll sound like Charles Ives, and we don't want it to sound like Charles Ives. So we need to send them a guide vocal. What does this guide vocal have? What does this video with instructions have in it? I kind of just copied the ideas that Eric Whitaker uses in his virtual choir instruction videos. So it told them when to start their video and then told them when to plug in headphones. The reason you want headphones is because you want them to be able to hear your track, but you don't want to hear that track from their speakers. If you start a webcam video on your laptop or whatever, and you start playing a song, you're gonna hear that song, and we don't want that. We wanna be able to hear just that singer. So they need to wear headphones. And this is how people in recording studios do it. If you're recording guitar or bass or something like that in a recording studio, then you'll have headphones so that you can hear the track you're playing along to, but the microphone doesn't pick up that track. Now, the sync pop, I put that in so that I can sync up all of those videos a little easier at the end when I put them all together and when I've received them. I'll link to the Eric Whitaker instructions that I looked at as a guide in the description so that you can see what I'm talking about, but I sent them something very similar where I told them what was gonna happen, then I said start your webcam, then it had a sync pop. I'll put a sound of it here so that you can hear it, but give them a countdown because that thing is loud. And then after that, I told them when to put in headphones and gave them a countdown for when to sing. All of this stuff helps them know what's going on and helps you when you get the tracks back to sync everything up. What did I do once I got all those videos back? I took all of the audio from them and put it into Pro Tools. So I'm using Pro Tools to edit everything together, including the audio that I sent them. And the reason that matters is in Pro Tools, I have a time code for that sync pop. And what I can do is that sync pop is a transient. It's a really loud sound and you can see it on an audio file when you import it into Pro Tools. You can line up those sync pops and that'll sound pretty good. It'll sound pretty decent. It might be a little off timing a little bit, but that's something that you can edit later. So I lined up all the sync pops, all the beeps, and that's where I started. After that, I cut out the excess noise after the sync pop, but I left part of the sync pop in and muted it because what I wanted was I wanted the time code of their video start. Some people started a little later, some people started a little earlier, and if I can have where that video started in relation to the guide video, I can line everything up. I'll try and put a visual of this so that you can see it, because I have at the top, I have this instruction video that I sent everybody. And then you can see the audio and the sync pop of where that all is. And then after that, I can line up all those sync pops. I can take all that stuff into Premiere and use the time code from Pro Tools for this. How did I edit everything? Well, I have a video on how to edit choral vocals recorded separately, so check out that video because it's super useful for what we're talking about, and it's exactly how I edited everything. So I panned everything hard right with however many singers, middle, and then hard left, or divided it into sections. So maybe I have hard right, 3 singers, partially right, 3 singers, middle, 4 singers, partially left, 4 singers, and then hard left, 4 singers, or whatever combination of singers that I had. Then I mixed everything. Now, one thing that you can do with mixing is you don't necessarily have, sorry to some of my students if you ever watch this, I apologize. It's not you, you all sounded really good. You did a great job on the assignment, guys. If somebody didn't sing very well in their recording or their video, then you can mute them. It's not the nicest thing to do, but you're trying to make a recording that sounds really good, and you have the ability to turn down certain people and up other people. So mix it how you would any other song. If you have a take that's not very good, but well, you're stuck with it being in your session, turn it down a little bit. And then you can get a pretty good mix. You might have to take a while mixing it because you have all of these different recordings that were recorded on different material or different equipment and different volume levels for everything. Once I was done editing everything and mixing everything and adding reverb, I bounced that Pro Tools session, that audio file, and brought it into Premiere. Now, what was great was I could take the time code in Pro Tools and line it up with the time code in Premiere because I used the same reference video with the instructions as my guide. If you had your sync pop at 1 minute, 20 seconds, and 3 frames in your instruction video, that will line up with Pro Tools and with Premiere for whatever you're doing. So I could line all of the stuff from Pro Tools up with the time code in Premiere, and this only works if you have a separate guide. So my guide was the instruction video. I was lining everything up with that instruction video basically. So 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, 0 frames in timecode was the very beginning of my instruction video. Then when everybody starts their webcam, I sort of generally know where that is in the video because it's marked in both of them. And if I use that as my guide in Premiere and Pro Tools, I can use timecode as my way to sync everything up and kind of cheat a little bit because it takes forever to edit these if you're doing a lot of people. What I then did was I took all of those time codes. Remember how we kept the time codes in Pro Tools and we just edited out the stuff afterwards, but we kept the beginning of the recording and the sync pop? This is where that comes into handy. If you write down all of those time codes of the starts of the videos, and where those audio files start, you can use that to line up your videos. It gets almost exactly where it is. There is some discrepancies with this. If you use a video that's a different frame rate, you might get some differences in time coding. You might have to line stuff up manually, but as a general rule, that works pretty well. After that, after I lined up all the videos, I then created a grid layer in Premiere to use to shrink all of the videos. What you can do is make a grid layer, make it white or black or whatever color you want it to be, and shrink all of the videos. There's an option when you click on the videos that says scale. Shrink them all down to fit in that grid, and then you have all of your videos together. After that, if you really want to, you can use After Effects for text. I used After Effects once and then realized that all of the stuff that I tried to do in After Effects I could just do in Premiere Pro, so I used Premiere Pro. Total time after having received all of these videos and audio files, it took about 4 to 5 hours for 30 people. Now, if you're doing more than 30 people, it'll take much longer. Or if you have something that's harder to line up like claps, that'll take a little longer, but it doesn't take a whole lot of time. But remember, creating all the tracks and all the videos as guides can probably take 2 to 3 hours just in and of itself. So be ready for that amount of work, because it can take a lot of work. And if you haven't done it ever, it can take a whole day of editing to get all of those videos lined up. That's the first one that I did. It took about a whole day. And it is possibly the most tedious thing I have ever done. Well, it's not, but it is very, very, very tedious. If you can imagine what that's like, you have to edit 30 different tracks, and you have to line up 30 different tracks, and then you have to line up and shrink 30 different videos, and then you have to do all of that together, and it just becomes very, very tedious. But it is a lot of fun to do. So if you can do it, do it. Last little note about it: if you're a teacher and you're trying to do this for a winter concert or something, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm happy to answer whatever questions. So send me an email or DM me on Twitter or Instagram, or leave a comment. Whatever. Let me know. If you have questions about this, let me know. Another thing is teachers get great discounts on all of those programs. As of recording this video, you get a discount on Avid Pro Tools and on the Adobe Creative Cloud suite, which includes Photoshop and Illustrator and Premiere Pro and After Effects. Take advantage of that. If you're a teacher and you can afford getting all that stuff and you think you'll actually use it, it's great to have. That's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope you learned something about music. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and as always, thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace.